Hello everyone and welcome to the Cobra Corner. In today's episode I'm going to be reviewing episode 1 of season 4, titled Let's Begin. I have to mention that this will not be a spoiler-free review, and I will dive deep into the spoilers, so if you are yet to watch season 4 of Cobra Kai, or Cobra Kai in general, now would be the time to avoid this video. Well, let's address the elephant in the room. Terry Silver has had his first episode in Cobra Kai and it revealed quite a bit about him. The opening of the new season reveals Silver busting out some incredible piano. During this episode for Miyagi-Fang, Daniel and Johnny deliver two very contrasting motivational speeches, followed with a training montage of Miyagi-Fang and both dojos are struggling to adapt to the changes they're all dealing with. These opening scenes for Miyagi-Fang provided the comedic value for the episode. On the Cobra Kai side of things, the only Cobra still hurting from the LaRusso Mansion fight is Tori, whereas the other Cobra Kai students seem less bothered about it. All of the Cobra Kai students reject Robbie and are angry that Kreese is allowing him to stay at the dojo, despite him not being a member. Despite this, Kreese gives some comforting words for Robbie in an attempt to sway him towards Cobra Kai. At the Lawrence household, Miguel reveals to Carmen that Johnny met up with Ali Mills. They both agree that in the midst of everything, they should take things slowly. Silver and Kreese finally meet each other in person for the first time in decades. Back at Miyagi-Fang, Johnny and Daniel agree to split up their classes but remain at the same dojo. But in my opinion, this sort of defeats the point of the two dojos uniting, if they're only going to use the same dojo. Hulk seems to be getting picked on by both dojos. He's rejected by Miyagi-Do, whereas he plays the punching bag for Eagle Fang. Turning to the Silver Mansion, Silver is initially reluctant to let Kreese back into his life, but Kreese ensures he gets a chance to talk to Terry, or Terrence as he's now referred to. Kreese seems disillusioned when he meets Silver's new friends. Over the dinner Terry and Kreese have, Terry actually doesn't feel a lot of anything about his past in the army, the total opposite to Kreese, who still lives and breathes it 50 years on. It's revealed Silver didn't even tell those closer to him that he even served in Vietnam. At Miyagi-Fang, Daniel and Johnny have a falling out. Hulk is still struggling to fit in at Miyagi-Do. Miguel and Sam play the role of the super glue, attempting to keep the two dojos together, but ultimately throughout the episode it seems to be falling on deaf ears. Kreese is still trying his best efforts to persuade Terrence to join him. Kreese reveals in conversation with Terry the abuse they both got after the Vietnam War when returning home and how it was part of the reason they both decided to start Cobra Kai. Silver is shocked to hear that Johnny and Daniel have joined forces. Silver, however, still rejects Kreese and tells Kreese that he hit rock bottom after the events of Karate Kid 3 and that he was actually an abuser of cocaine in the 1980s, leading to him believing he could take on the world. Silver tells Kreese the best thing happening to him was Kreese leaving his life. Silver actually comes across incredibly done with worrying about karate rivalry. It's something he almost laughs about because of how ridiculous he thinks it was about the lengths he went to in the 80s to make Daniel LaRusso's life hell. Ultimately, back at Miyagi-Fang, Daniel is the one to apologise to Johnny and they sit down over some chorus banquet while Johnny eats some very wet ham. The peace doesn't last long though and they get into a heated argument and both finally agree on something, and that is that the dojos will both go their separate ways. And the coalition is off. Back at Cobra Kai, the rest of the Cobra Kai walk into the dojo to find that whilst Kreese is out of town, Robbie is taking charge. The other Cobras feel insulted that the new guy has been given such an honour, so Robbie offers them a challenge. If any of them can land a strike on Robbie, he will leave. Robbie held his own against all of the Cobras in what was an incredible fight scene. I loved that Robbie, as a newfound member of Cobra Kai, used Miyagi-Do techniques to fend off the other classmates. Tori ultimately manages to land a kick from the floor, catching Robbie off guard, and Robbie was about to leave until Tori convinced him to stay. She would be crazy not to after Robbie bested the entire class all by himself with absolutely zero Cobra Kai lessons thus far. This just goes to show that Robbie could very well be on his way to becoming not only the best student in Cobra Kai, but across the whole series in general. The following day, back at Miyagi-Do, it looks like to be the end of the Miyagi-Fang alliance as we know it. But that's not before Hulk ultimately took it upon himself to design a new sparring deck for Miyagi-Do, not only earning him some respect from Miyagi-Do students, but allowing Daniel and Johnny to both agree to continue the coalition. Back at Cobra Kai, Robbie ultimately declares his allegiance to Cobra Kai and delivers a great speech in which he pledges to teach the Cobra Kai the techniques of Miyagi-Do in order to make them stronger. The last scene of the episode features Silver delivering a very sweet wheel kick to a bottle of wine. A little Easter egg on that actually, and that is the wine bottle that Silver kicked is the very brand of wine that Robert Mark Kamen, creator of the Karate Kid films, actually produces, and I think that was a really nice touch. Before the credits roll, a tribute is posted to Ed Asner, who we sadly lost this year. Asner was known for playing Sid in Cobra Kai, but as well as that, I'm sure you'd have seen Up, where he voices Carl Fredricksen. Rest in peace, Ed. I think on the whole this was an incredible episode, and I think this sets the tone for the following season. A really strong base of an episode for the next 9 episodes. In my opinion, Robbie absolutely stole the show, and I think that season 4 will be the season of Robbie Keane. I think Kreese has planted the seed in Silver's head, and it won't be long before we see him grace the mats of Cobra Kai again. However, I do think it might be at the risk of losing his sanity again. For Miyagi-Fang, the students continue to be the bridge between Daniel and Johnny, but it could only be so long before they both have to put their differences aside and 100% commit to each other's methods, teaching styles, and class structure. I'm extremely excited, and I'm waiting in anticipation for season 4, which will be released on Netflix on this Friday, 31st of December. Once again, thanks for watching, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.